Welcome to another basic science class. I'm glad you're here, and very quickly before we move into our topic, I have a question. I have a question here, and the question is sardine a fish? Like, you must be surprised right now, like sardine. I know most of us we used to eat, we see it and we eat it. It's canned, and as you can see also on the picture, in the slide, is sardine a fish? Is it a fish, or is it just a brand name? You know, sometimes we are used to some particular stuffs, like when you're generally calling some stuff like our seasonings, most of the time we call them Maggi, regardless of the brand. So we want to check now, is sardine a fish? Is it a fish, or is it just a brand name? That will lead us to our topic today, which is fish resources. So at the end of today's class, you should be able to define fish resources and understand their importance, identify different types of fish resources, explain the significance of sustainable fishing practice. Should we just be eating fish and not sustain them? Why is it important? Why is it important that we must sustain our fish or fishes? So understand the impact of overfishing on fish population. What is going to be impact of when we're just overfishing? We just get to the river or the stream or the ocean, we're just fishing and we're not looking back. So what impact will it have on the fish populations? And also recognize the importance of fish conservation and management. We are going to also recognize the importance of fish conservation and management. So fish resources refer to the various species of fish, various different types of fish. That is what we call fish resources. The various species of fish and their habitats that are utilized by humans for either food, recreation, and economic purposes. I know you must be surprised now, like fishes are not just only meant for food. Yes, they're also for recreational purposes and economic purposes. So let's look at the examples of fishes that we have. We have thousands of them, hundreds of them, but I'm just going to be mentioning a few of them. We have mackerel. Mackerel is a fish. We have tuna. We have sardine. So now I'm going to be answering my question very quickly here. Sardine is a fish. So it's not a brand name. It's a species of fish. Sardine is not just a brand name because it is written on it. No, it is a species of fish. We have the catfish and we have the salmon. The catfish and the salmon. So let's look at the parts of a fish and their uses. Whenever you pick up fish, you're going to see them. They have different parts. Some are scaly, some are like fins. We have the eyes, the nose, and what are the importance of some of this part of the fishes? And you can see on the slide, you can see a diagram and that has labeled the fish. We have the nest, the mouth, the eye, the operculum, the gills of the fish, and there are various locations. You can see the pelvic fin. What is it used for? You can see the pectoral fin, the vent, the anal fin, the caudal fin, the soft raid, and the spiny fin, all referred to as the dorsal fin and the lateral line. So very quickly, let's look at the parts of the fish and their uses. Number one is the fins. If you're going to check it, you're going to see different type of fin. We have here the dorsal fin, the caudal fin, the anal fin, the pectoral fin, and the pelvic fin, and you're just wondering, what are they used for? So let's very quickly. Fish have various types of fins that help them maneuver in water. So one of the advantage of fins for animals, for fish, I mean to say, is it helps them to maneuver, that is to move in water. As legs assist humans to move from one place to the other, or animals that possess legs, it is a form of locomotion. So they move, a form of mobility. They move from one place to the other. Same thing, the same purpose is what the fin of fishes are serving. So it helps them to maneuver in water, to move in water. So let's look at the different types of fin. We have a dorsal fin, and this is the dorsal fin. Look at it very well, the dorsal fin, and you can see that it's divided into two, the spiny and the soft railed. Spiny one and the soft rail, both called the dorsal fin. So the dorsal fin is located on the fish's back. The dorsal fin provides stability and helps control the fish direction. So the reason for the fish possessing that dorsal fin is for stability, and it helps them to control their direction. So as they are moving, it guides them, it controls them. They are not just waving. Maybe before time you might have been thinking that fish just move anyhow. They don't move anyhow. They don't just move in. They move in a particular direction, and what assists them is their dorsal fin, and it helps to provide stability in the direction they move. The next fin we have there is the caudal fin. That is the tail fin. Another name for the easiest way to identify the caudal fin is it is the tail fin. You can see it on the picture there. The caudal fin is the tail fin, and it's positioned at the end of the fish. The dorsal fin is positioned at the back of the fish. Caudal fin is positioned at the end of the fish, and the caudal fin propels the fish forward by generating thrust through side-to-side movement. So what propels the fish forward is the caudal fin, and what gives the fish stability is the dorsal fin. So I hope you're getting this as we move on. The next is the pectoral fins. The pectoral fins. Pectoral fin is found on either side of the fish's body. You can see it here. If you turn the other side, you're going to see it. It's very close to the gills. So that is where the pectoral fin is found, and it assists in steering, balancing, and controlling vertical movement. So all these fins are not just there for decoration or for fashion. They have what they help the fish to achieve. The next fin we have there is the pelvic fins. The pelvic fins. Here is the pelvic fins, and it's located in the lower side of the fish. It is located in the lower side of the fish. Pelvic fins help in maintaining stability and maneuverability. That means the movements. It assists them in stability, just like the dorsal fin does. So the pelvic fin too assists them as they maneuver their way through the water and helps them to be stable. So its usage is also very similar to that of the dorsal fin. The next is the anal fin. The anal fin. The anal fin, you can see it over here. The anal fin, it's over here, which is the last fin we are considering. It is situated near the fish's anus. It is situated near the fish's anus, and the anal fin assists in stabilization during swimming. So as the fish swims through the water, moves through the water, what assists it to be stable is the anal fin, and plays a role in fine-tuning movement, so that the fish will not be wavering. It just be wavering through water, moving and as if it's aimless. So what assists it is the anal fin. So that is that about fin. Let's move over to scales. You might have been opportune to see fishes and something like whitish stuff, grayish in color, peeling out of their body, or your mom using knife to pass through their body, and you can see that in falling off. That is the scale, and what you can see it here on the fish. It's on every fish. Look at the scale. So the fish are covered in scales, which provide protection and reduce drag while swimming. So what helps them to reduce drag while swimming is the scale, and it protects them. It provides protection. Scales also play a role in maintaining the fish body temperature. So it's amazing that they also maintain body temperature using their scales. The next one is the gills. The gills, you can see the gill cover over here. The gills, that's the gill cover over here. The gills, fish breathe. What do they use it? That is where fish breathe through. What nose is to humans, to animals, is what gills are to fishes. So we humans, we animals, we breathe through our nursery. Fishes breathe through their gills, which are specialized respiratory organs located on either side of their bodies. Gills extract oxygen from water and release carbon dioxide, enabling fish to respire under water. And that is one of the specific parts that help them to survive inside water. That is one of the that help them to adapt inside water. It is the gills. Humans cannot live in water. We do not possess gills. Some animals do not live in water. They do not possess gills. So one of the adaptive features of fishes that makes it suitable for it to live in water is your gills. The next is the mouth. The mouth of a fish is used for various purposes, including feeding and communication. I know you're going to be surprised that fishes communicate. Yes, they communicate. So they communicate with their mouth also, but not talking or speaking the way we do as humans, but they communicate. Fish have different types of mouths depending on their diet. So their mouth is not specific. There are some that have teeth in their mouth and some do not have teeth. Depending on their diet, on what they feed on, they have different types of mouths. Some have protractable mouths for capturing prey. Some mouths are very protracted. That means they protrude. You can see them is long, so it's to capture prey. While others have specialized mouths for scraping algae or sucking in small organisms. You can see the mouth in the picture. The next we have is the operculum. Operculum is a protective bony flap that covers the gills. So the gills cover is the operculum. Gills is the adaptive features that help fish to adapt to stay inside water and breathe. The operculum covers the gills on either side of the fish's head. It helps in pumping water into the gills. You know, it's the gills that help to allow oxygen exchange, preventing debris from entering the gills. So that is what operculum actually is used for. It covers the gills, protects it from debris. So as the water is coming in, as it enters the gills, the exchange is done in the gills. It takes in oxygen from the water and also gives out carbon dioxide to the water, to the environment. The next is the eyes. The eyes, you can see it in the picture, the eyes. Fish have eyes positioned on the sides of their heads, providing them with wide field of vision. Fish sees, they see. So you provide them with wide, because if they are not seeing, how will they feed? How will they see animals or organisms to feed on plants? So they have eyes to see. So eyes allow fish to detect predators, locate prey, and navigate their environment. The next part of the fish we are looking at is the lateral line. The lateral line, you can see the lateral line very close to the operculum. Do not forget that the operculum is the gills cover. You can see the lateral line, and it's also close to the pectoral fin. If you're looking at the picture very well, it's close to the pectoral fin, close to the dorsal fin also. That is the spinning side of the dorsal fin. So what is the lateral line used for? The lateral line is a series of sensory organs running along the fish's side. It detects changes in water pressure, vibrations, and movement in the surrounding water, aiding in navigation, prey protection, and predator avoidance. So the fish sense through the lateral line. They sense through the lateral line. They feel the water, the water pressure. They feel anything that is going on in the environment, the water bodies. They can feel it through their lateral line. And the last is the swim bladder. The swim bladder. The swim bladder is an internal gas-filled sac. You can see that it's not on the picture because we didn't show the internal part. These are just the external part of the fish. So the swim bladder is one of the essential part of fish, and the swim bladder is an internal gas-filled sac that helps fish control their buoyancy. By adjusting the amount of gas in the swim bladder, fish can ascend or descend in the water column. So it helps them in ascending or descending. What it does is to help them adjust the amount of gas in the swim bladder. So it will help them to ascend or descend in the water column. So that's that about the parts of fish. Let's look at the uses of fish parts. We have mentioned different types of their various parts. What are their uses? Number one, we have the meat. The flesh of many fish species is consumed as food by humans. We all eat fish. We talk about sardine now, and what we eat in the part of that sardine is the flesh, not the bone. So it serves as meat, as food consumed by humans. Fish provide a valuable source of protein. It is proteinous in nature, essential fatty acid, and other nutrients in the human diet. Second, we have the scales. The scales, do you remember the scales? When we talk about the scales in the body, I told you that some whitish stuff that falls off whenever maybe your mom just used the knife to scale through or scrape through the fish's body. You see something falling off, that is the scale. So what is the advantage? Fish scales have been used in various cultural practices and crafts. They have been utilized for decorative purposes. So the scales of a fish can be used in decorative, when you're in decorative purposes, as jewelry or in traditional art forms. Another part of the fish that we're going to look at the usage is the bones. The bones, are they important? Do we just throw them away? Fish bones can be utilized for making fish stock. So you can use fish bone, process it to make fish stock, which serve as a base for soups, sauces, and stews. Some cultures also use fish bones for medicinal purposes. And the next is the skin of the fish. Fish skin can be processed and used in the production of leather goods. There are some fishes that they have very good and tough and flexible skins, not like the little fishes we eat. But these fishes are bigger than this, so their source of leather production, you can get leather from them to produce some leather goods. The substance used in making art items such as the wallet, shoes, or handbag. So we are not only getting our leather from maybe animals, fishes and animals. I'm talking about maybe just sheep and goats. No, we can get, or cows, we can get them from fishes also. Number 5 is fish oil. Fish oil extracted from fish oil is a rich source of omega-3 fatty acid, and omega-3 fatty acid is an essential nutrient in the body. So it is commonly used as a dietary supplement due to its potential health benefits. It contains so many health benefits. So when you use fish oil, it is very good. And those oil are extracted. That's why it is called fish oil, extracted from fishes. The next is the fin. If you remember, we mentioned different types of fins and the rest: the dorsal fin, the anal fin, and pectoral fin, and the rest like that. So what in some cultures, fish fins are used in traditional cuisine, particularly in dishes like shark fin soup. However, it is important to know that the practice of shark finning is widely condemned due to its impact on shark population. So some persons use the shark fin to produce or to cook some delicacies, but it's condemned in some aspect of the world because it has impact on shark population. It reduces them. So we want to look at types of fish resources. I told us that I told us earlier that fish resources refers to the different species of fishes that we have. So we want to look at types of fish resources based on their usage. Number 1 is the commercial fish species. These are fish species targeted for commercial fishing due to their economic value. Examples include the tuna, the cod, the salmon, sardines, and herring. You can know that you sell them to get money. Sell them to people who eat fish and you get money from them. So commercial fishing vessels and fleets specifically target these species to meet the demand for seafood in markets worldwide. So it's a type of fish resource is the commercial fish species. The next is the aquaculture. Aquaculture, also known as fish farming, involves the controlled cultivation of fish in tanks, ponds, or cages. It is an important source of fish resources, providing a sustainable alternative to wild caught fish. Most of the catfishes that we see in the market, especially in Nigeria, they are gotten from ponds, not from not from the our natural streams and ocean and lakes. No, they are gotten from ponds, no, or cages or tanks. So if you get some fish farms, you see them there. So that is aquaculture. That is you are cultivating fish for commercial purposes to make up for the, or to serve as an alternative to the wild caught fish. So it's an alternative to it. So common aquaculture species include catfish. Catfish is very common. If you go to some markets, you see them there. So catfish is one common species that can be used in aquaculture that you can cultivate. You also have tilapia fish, salmon, and shrimp. The next is ornamental fish. Some fish species are kept as pets. I know you'll be surprised. And why are they kept as pets? It's for decorative purposes in aquariums. When you get to some aquariums, you see some fishes very fine, and they're kept because of their colorful and uniqueness. And such fishes like goldfish, the gulpers, bettas, and angelfish are popular choices for ornamental fish keeping. So they are kept for their decorative purpose. They are kept for their beauty, for their aesthetic value. The next is game fish. Game fish are fish species pursued for recreational fishing. They are it's just for you to, just as the word is game fish, just for recreational fishing, nothing more. So like the anglers enjoy catching species like trout, bass, melly, and the rest like that. So these fishes are known for their fighting ability. They are known for their fighting ability or desirable taste. So they just to catch them, it's just a game. They're just using them for game, for recreational purpose, and some of them are used for their taste, desirable taste. They are, when they are being cooked, I mean to say when they are being cooked, they are delicious. The next is importance of fish resources. So what are we have looked at different types of fish resources. Now we're looking at the importance of fish resources. The first one we have here is food source. Of course, fish provide a significant source of protein and essential nutrients for many people around the world. And one of the essential nutrients is the omega-3 fatty acid that I mentioned earlier. So they are an important part of the diet in coastal communities and regions with easy access to freshwater bodies. Those environments or coastal communities that have access to freshwater bodies, the fish, they go for fishing and they get fishes which they use as food. Even the environment that are not close to freshwater bodies, they buy them, which we're still going to look at. They buy them from the market and use them as food, so they are food source. The next is economic value. Fishing and fish-related industries contribute to the economy of many countries. Commercial fishing operations employ a large number of people and generate revenue through the sale of fish and related products. As I said earlier on, I said people that are not even close to the freshwater, but they eat these fishes, they will have to get it, and that is the commercializing of fish. So it has provided a job, that is economic value. Those people the fishermen that went to fish, people that are selling it, so is an avenue, is a avenue to generate revenue through the sale of fish and related products. Additionally, fish processing, packaging, and exporting industries further contribute to the economy, such as the sardine and the Titus. They package them into can and they sell them. So it has contributed to the economy of that country. The next is recreational value. Recreational value. Fishing is a popular leisure activity enjoyed by many individuals. They are not just going there to fish because of food. No, it's just they are doing it for leisure, because it provides them relaxation. That is how some persons relax. It provides them entertainment. When you are trying to fish a fighting fish that fights, just as we look at the games type of fish. So it's a form of entertainment to them and a way of connecting to the nature, Recreational fishing also supports tourism and local businesses in areas known for their fishing opportunities. We are quite sure that not every community have the opportunity to be blessed with fresh waters. So people who want to fish for recreational purposes will just have to leave their environment and travel down to places where they are going to be opportune to do that, and that it has support tourism, and it will help those local businesses to grow. The next is ecological balance. If you can see the picture there, you can see something like greenish water, and you're just like, what is this? This water is green. Yes, it's because there's something we call algae bloom. That is an algae bloom water. That means algae has taken over that water, making the water unfit. The balance there, it cannot maintain the balance of the ecosystem there. So some of the organisms living in that water will just have to die, because they would deplete the rate of oxygen in that water. And living organisms cannot live without oxygen. So, but when you have fishes there, they help to control the algae blooms by eating. They eat those things, and so they are maintaining the water, the balance, the ecosystem in that balance, and thereby they are regulating predators, regulating prey, regulating scavengers, and they are just regulating the general population of other organisms participating in the nutrient cycle of that environment, of that water body, because that's the environment we are talking about. So let's look at sustainable fishing practices. What are the sustainable fishing practices? What practices should we put in place that we help to sustain our fishes? Number one is fishing quotas. Fishing quotas impose limits on the number of and size of fish that can be caught. So you can't just enter the water at any time and just catch as many. No, there's limits. There are limits to the number of fishes, and there are limits to the size of fishes that you can get from that. But you are limited. If you go above that, you'll be punished for it. The next is fishing seasons. Establishing specific period. That means there's a period you are to fish. After that particular period, you are not permitted to fish again. So when you establish specific period when fishing is allowed, it helps to protect fish during their breeding seasons. This allows them to reproduce and maintain their population. The next is selective fishing gear. Selective fishing gear. So I talked about the first one I mentioned, and I said that you are limited. So how you can help to limit it is using selective fishing gears. So you can't just catch every fish. There's a specific size, there's specific numbers, and there are specific species you are targeting to get. So this, if you can put this in place, it's going to sustain fishes, and they won't just deplete in their numbers. Techniques such as using selective nets or hooks can help reduce the impact on non-target species. When you know that you're just having a specific size of fish to get, the net you're going to take to the river or to the stream or to the fishing to the river bank or to the fishing place will be different, so that it will give room for the net will be large. It will give room for little fishes not to be caught. So it's a kind of you are targeting some particular fishes, some particular species, so that others will not go into extinction. Another is marine protected areas. Designating certain areas as protected zones helps conserve fish populations. These areas serve as sanctuaries where fishing is restricted or completely prohibited. It's either you are restricted from fishing in that area, or fishing is completely prohibited, and if you go against that law, you're going to be punished for it. So it allows fish to thrive. It allows their populations to recover and also to thrive. So what is the effects of overfishing? When we are just fishing and we're not thinking about the population of fishes, what is the effect? Does it have any effects? Let's look at it. Number one is decline in fish populations. Decline in fish populations. Overfishing can lead to the depletion of fish populations, reducing biodiversity and affecting the overall health of the ecosystem. There was a time I talked about algae bloom, and imagine algae bloom. Imagine that you kept on fishing and you didn't give room for the fishes to reproduce itself and regain itself again. It's going to get to a time in which the available fishes will not be able to combat the algae that will be growing there, and it will grow excessively, and as it grows, it's going to affect the balance, the ecosystem of that water. It disrupts the natural balance and can result in the collapse of fishery. Another is imbalance in food chains. There are some specific predators or animals that depend solely on food, or that depend solely on fishes as their food source. So if we are not taking this into cognizance and overfishing takes place, we are going to short circuit these animals, and they won't, after a long time, it's going to affect them and probably lead to their extinction. So it has a negative impact on such animals. So reduced fish population disrupts the food chain and also impact other species. Another is economic and social impact. There are some communities that their major source of livelihood is fishing. So everything they do revolves around fish. If we are not careful and we engage in overfishing, it's going to disrupt them, it's going to affect them, and they're going to be out of job in the long run. It's going to affect them. The next is we're looking at fish conservation and management. Since we have known the effects of overfishing, how can we conserve and manage fishes? How can we conserve and manage fishes to avoid the negative impact we just mentioned? Number one is enforcing fishing regulations and laws. So governments and international bodies, they can establish and enforce regulations to prevent overfishing. So it can include fishing quotas, geo restriction, and protected areas. So you know that as in fishing quotas, now you cannot fish more than this number of fish, and there's a particular size that you must have, that you must fish. And geo regulations, restrictions, that means you have a specific net to catch your fish so that some selected species can escape in order to grow them. Then protected areas, that means there are seasonals for there are the particular time people can fish, and there are particular time they are not expected, they are prohibited to fish, or even some water bodies they are prohibited to fish. Another is monitoring and research. Continuous monitoring and research are essential to understand fish populations, habitat, and trends. We have to monitor them so scientists can help collect data on fish populations, study their behavior, and assess the health of ecosystem, what affect them in that environment. You know that fishes too migrate. So what are the things that will make them to migrate from one ecosystem to another? So scientists can do this, that is, they monitor and carry out some research that will give us some helpful tips on how to keep the fishes in their habitat and to increase their populations. The next is awareness and education. So awareness should be created. The fishermen should be aware of the effect of overfishing, that in the long run, if you're going to fish, this and this will happen to the environment, this and this is going to happen to the community and other stakeholders too should be aware, should be educated on the effect of overfishing. The next is international cooperation. So collaboration between countries is necessary to manage shared fish stocks effectively. There should be internal cooperation. They should collaborate. Countries that share borders, maybe share borders with water, and they share the same borders, they should come together and collaborate and put in laws that will assist in sustaining fishing practices. So we have come to the end of the class, but before we go, we're going to look at some questions in the ExamGuide app to ascertain what we have learned. So you click on the ExamGuide app. The subject is basic science, and you click on the selected topic, and I've clicked them already, and the topics are fishes and resources from living things. So we're going to look at some selected questions from there very quickly. So we have a question here, and if you can see it very well, we have a diagram, and it's the fish diagram, and it was one of the things that I was emphasizing when I taught. So the question is the part labeled 4, that is IV, is dash fin. What fin? I mentioned close to 5 fins, different types of fin: the pectoral fin, the dorsal fin, the anal fin, the caudal fin. So now we have to recognize, we have to identify this particular fin. What is it called? A, ventral fin. Is it the ventral fin? Is it the caudal fin? Is it the anal fin? Is it the pectoral fin and the dorsal fin? So you're going to look at it very well. It is the anal fin, because I remember telling us that the anal fin is close to the anus and IV is close to the anus of the fish. So the right answer is the anal fin. Let's look at another question. The next question is the function of the part labeled V, that is 5, Roman numeral 5. V is for what? A, balancing. And the first thing to check out is that part label. You should be able to identify the name. What is it called? And if I look at it very critically, it is the caudal fin. So is it A for balancing? Is it for steering? Is it for respiration? Is it for defense? Is it for maintaining pressure? So it is for steering. It has to move the fish forward. So it steer it forward. The right answer is B, steering. We have another question here. So use the diagram below to answer questions. This is going to be our last question. Please go through other questions and be sure that you can answer them. Say, which of the following features enable the fish to swim? And that was the number one features I mentioned, if you remember, when I introduced the class. After the definition of fish resources, I thought it was a part of fish and their uses. So we have A, fins, B, cilia, C, flagella, D, wings, and A, tentacles. So what do the fish use to swim? It is the fins, whether it's the combination of both the pectoral fin, the dorsal fin, the anal fin, and other fins. So the fin is what the fish used to swim. The right answer there is fish is fins. So you click on it. So we have come to the end of today's class. Very quickly, I'll just do a recap where I've looked at fish resources, and it refers to the various types of fish species that we have. We look at different parts of fish and their usage, what they are used for. We also look at what the uses of fish, types of fishes and their uses, and why we should maintain and sustain the fish in the environment. Thank you for participating in today's class. You can practice more questions using the ExamGuide app. The app scores and gives detailed explanations of all the questions at the end of your practice tests. You can also learn a particular topic of interest with different modes like study modes, mock modes, and practice modes. It has other features that make learning fun. It is a must for all serious students. Download from www.examguide.com if you don't have it yet. See you in the next class. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell and share the video with others that will benefit from it. Bye for now.